They said freedom was having a good job, buying a house on credit, and waiting for the weekend to live a little. But what if all of that is just a carefully constructed simulation? A modern matrix where money isn't just currency, it's a leash. Most people walk around numb, believing they're in control, when in fact they're just pieces in a game they never chose to play. The question few have the courage to ask is, what if the life you're living isn't really yours? Most people wake up every day already in debt, not money, but time. The alarm goes off, the body gets up, but the mind stays absent, trapped in obligations, goals, bills, and deadlines. The day doesn't begin because they want it to, but because they have to. They have to pay the rent, the car, the health insurance, the credit card. They have to keep the wheel turning. But no one stops to ask, who is really turning the wheel, and why? We live in an era where money is no longer a tool. It has become the master. The choices that should reflect identity, purpose, and freedom are now made under the invisible pressure of scarcity or status. Which career to choose? Where to live? What to wear? How much does it cost to look successful? Even when someone thinks they're making their own choices, they're often just following silent expectations planted by the system without even realizing it. Working 8, 9, sometimes 12 hours a day has become a badge of responsibility when in truth, in many cases, it's just survival disguised as ambition. People brag about being busy as if it's a virtue, without realizing that productivity without intention is just another name for alienation. Time is traded for money, and then money for distractions. Distractions that numb the pain of having lost time. The system is clever. It gives you just enough comfort so you won't rebel, but not enough for you to feel free. It gives you credit to consume, but charges your soul in installments. It rewards conformity and punishes questioning. The illusion of choice is everywhere. In ads, in social media, in everyday conversations. And with every consumption cycle, the hole gets deeper. The most sophisticated trap is cultural. From a young age, we learn that a person's value lies in what they have, not in who they are. That success is measured in digits, not in awareness. And that being realistic means accepting a life model based on scarcity, competition, and sacrifice. Little by little, money stops being a means and becomes the ultimate goal, the reason behind every choice, the measure of every decision. And those who try to escape this cycle are seen as crazy, irresponsible, naive. Because questioning the system threatens those who've already grown comfortable within it. People don't want to be reminded they're trapped. They want company in the cell. That's why anyone who thinks differently is quickly silenced, mocked, or ignored. The matrix protects itself because its survival depends on everyone's compliance. But the most tragic part is that many don't even know they're trapped. The prison is invisible, built with beliefs, habits, and promises that are never fulfilled. And time, the most precious thing we have, slips through their fingers, traded for crumbs of comfort and a constant feeling of not being enough. They say this is what it means to live. But is it really? Since when did money become a synonym for human worth? At some point in history, we traded wisdom for specialization, presence for productivity, and freedom for stability. The problem isn't money itself. It's the central role it has taken in our most intimate decisions. What was once a tool to simplify exchange now defines identities. The question is no longer, who do I want to be? But how can I afford to be that? Being has been swallowed by having. We live immersed in inherited beliefs, rarely questioned. That wealth means accumulation, that security comes from owning, that more is always better. But these ideas are convenient for a system that profits from our restlessness. The more we feel inadequate, the more we consume. And the more we consume, the deeper in debt we fall, not just financially, but existentially. We owe ourselves a life of purpose. The heaviest debt isn't in the bank, it's in the soul. What would happen if we flipped the script? What if money stopped being the center and became just a supporting role? What if we measured success not by what we accumulate, but by how intentionally we live? Maybe that's where true rebellion lies, refusing to be just a cog and choosing to become the author again. Redefining our relationship with money isn't just a financial decision, it's a declaration of identity. Observe the rhythm of the cities. Hurried people, tense faces, eyes locked on screens while bodies move on autopilot. Breakfast is swallowed between notifications, the commute filled with thoughts of bills to pay and targets to hit. Many spend more time in meetings than with their own children, more hours in front of a spreadsheet than outdoors. All of it in the name of a paycheck that, by the end of the month, barely covers the cost of maintaining the very routine that job demands. On weekends, the escape comes through consumption. Shopping malls, food delivery, 12 interest-free installments. Small rewards to make up for the exhaustion. But this momentary anesthesia comes at a high price. The cycle repeats, Monday arrives, and with it, the weight of yet another week where time doesn't belong to the one who lives it. There's no room for silence, introspection, or intentional choices, only timed survival. Even among those who earn well, the prison is subtle. The bigger house demands more upkeep, the new car brings new debt, the higher position requires longer hours and less freedom. What looks like progress is often just a more comfortable cell. And so, day after day, people trade their best years for promises of a future freedom that never arrives. Because deep down, no one ever taught them how to live, only how to pay bills. Leaving the matrix doesn't mean running off into the woods or rejecting money entirely. It means waking up. It means putting money in its rightful place, as a tool, not a master. Redefining success as the freedom to choose, not the accumulation of things. It's understanding that an intentional life doesn't begin when you have more, but when you need less. True wealth lies in having time, presence, and autonomy to live in alignment with what truly matters, not with what you were programmed to desire. This shift begins with small decisions, questioning what you consume, why you work, and who you spend your time with. It starts when you realize that productivity without purpose is just another form of imprisonment. When you choose to live with more clarity and less distraction. Exiting the system is, above all, an act of courage, because it means stopping the script and starting to write your own. And that, as simple as it may seem, is deeply revolutionary. If this message stirred something in you, made you uncomfortable, curious, or inspired, then maybe you've already taken the first step. Subscribe to the channel to continue this journey of reflection and financial freedom. Here we don't just talk about money, we talk about choices, awareness, and purpose, because real living begins when money serves you, not the other way around.